Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Abby, and in today's video, I'm going to do a small recap of Cars from Disney. I have grown up watching that movie, and it's one of my top favorite movies from Disney. I would watch that movie over and over and over again. I watched the first one more than I do with the second and third one, but I know that Lightning has met Cruz Ramirez in Cars 3. And then Mater has met Finn and Holly in Cars 2. Cars 2 was like more violent and like more evil and stuff. I don't really know why they did that for Cars 2, but it was just like more violent and like more action and stuff. So I was just like, oh my gosh. Um, but Cars 1, I've been watching Cars 1 for a few years now, right? Ever since I was like a little kid, I have been watching Cars nonstop. Like the first time I watched Cars, I wanted to keep watching Cars. And so when I was in the hospital, I would ask my mom to put on Cars and Tangled over and over and over again. But I would probably watch Cars more than Tangled at this point, right? So, I'm gonna do a small recap of the movie and we'll just see how it goes. So, Lightning McQueen is a race car. I think he's a NASCAR racer. I can't really tell which kind of race car he is, but he was always like not this like kind or um, I don't really know how to explain it, but Lightning wasn't the nicest race car in the beginning of the movie, right? He was always like this, wanting to work alone. He didn't want his pit crew to work with him, and so they quit after the race in the beginning of the movie. Um, and so he didn't have a pit crew after that because they left, and they were like, bye. Um, and then Lightning, Chick Hicks, and the King all tied in the first race, right? And then they had to do another race that would be held in California. And so that would be in like 2 weeks for them to get to California, get ready for the race, and see who wins. That's basically the whole part in the racing world, at least in my opinion. Uh, but before Lightning could actually get to California, he gets lost in a town called Radiator Springs, right? After his hauler, Mac, fell asleep throughout the night and he opened the back of the trailer and Lightning, like, drove out of the trailer while he was still asleep, right? And then Lightning lost Mac on the interstate and then he got lost in a town called Radiator Spring, and then he met a couple of other cars that he never met before. So, Lightning damaged the road, and he had to stay in town to help rebuild the road. So, Doc, the town's judge, I think, he made Lightning rebuild the road with a thing called Bessie. And it was like this, I don't know. I don't know how you, I don't know what you call Bessie. She's like a big, giant, building machine, I guess, for the roads. And so that's what Lightning had to use. So while he was staying there, he was starting to get to know everybody in the town. And so Sally, the town's leader, she decided to take Lightning on a drive, and she went to a place called the Wheel Well. That used to be like a restaurant and like a hotel at the same time. That's what I want to guess. And so she told Lightning about her past and what happened in the past for the town. And then Lightning went tractor chipping with Nader, and then that's where they got into the whole problem with Frank, and Frank chased them throughout the yard. And then Mater and Lightning went back to the town, and then Lightning stayed at the Cozy Cone. That's where Sally stayed, right? And then towards the end of the movie, Mater let the tractors into the town. It's kind of funny though. And so while all that was happening, Lightning found Doc back at the dirt racetrack. This is a small racetrack called Willie's Butte, and he found Doc just hanging out there. And then Doc started to race like how he did in the past and all that stuff. And then Lightning decided to change the town up a little bit, so he put some neon lights in and he helped rebuild the road, and the town looked like how it was back in its heyday, right? And then Lightning and Sally fall in love, and then Lightning is forced to leave the town because Doc called the reporters or interviewers, I don't know what you call them, to the town to come get Lightning. And then Mac and Lightning are reunited towards the end of the movie once Mac figures out that Lightning was in Radiator Springs, and then they take him to California. But Lightning doesn't want to go. He doesn't. That's surprising, because Lightning, at first, he wanted to leave, and then towards the end of the movie, he didn't want to leave. And so, once they got to California, Lightning still didn't have a pit crew. Kind of funny, because Doc and most of the town, Sally, Red, and Lizzie all had to stay put because they didn't want to leave the town. But everybody else went to the race. And so they were all his pit crew. And then Lightning didn't win the California race. And so he helped the king instead, because the king crashed because of Chick Hicks, because he pushed the king and the king crashed. That's what I want to put it. And then Lightning helps the king, finishes his last race in the movie, and then I guess they both win, and Chick doesn't count. That's what I want to say. And everybody was happy about that. Lightning returned back to Radiator Springs with everybody else. And then once they all got back to Radiator Springs, Lightning went to go get Sally from the wheel well. They reunited, and then Mater was flying in a helicopter that he got his wish. And then they all went back to town, right? I don't really know what happens after that. I guess during the credits, they like start heading to like the movies and stuff and whatever. So that's my little recap of Cars. I love Cars. I grew up watching Cars all the time. My favorite characters from all three movies would be Sally, Lightning, Nader, Finn and Holly from Cars 2, and then Cruz Ramirez, and a few other Next Gen racers, Jackson Storms. All of them are my favorite characters. But if I had to choose two, it would be Lightning and Sally. Definitely. So that's my little recap of Cars. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little recap of Cars. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.